everyone. Okay, so let me explain how this session is going to run. We have our two special guests which are going to present their own view on Go and how this helps them in their companies. Before we do that, I would like to give you an insight on how Go was born for us, how UiPath actually started from an idea to an actual platform. So, in order to do that, first I would like to understand who's familiar with UiPath Go. Okay, so almost everyone. For the ones that are not familiar, UiPath Go, I would describe it as a component marketplace. A component marketplace for RPA with a star on top of marketplace. Please keep that in mind. I will go back and explain why the star on the component marketplace. So, in order to explain this, let's step back 2 years ago when we had this idea of creating this component marketplace. That started internally because we were using different repositories for our components. That started also externally because our customers were asking for a community, were asking for a place to put their components, for a place to get their components and to be able to use them. So, the way that I would like to describe this is think of a successful business. A successful business is based on solving a problem that your customers have. The problem that we wanted to solve is offer a marketplace, offer a place where people could collaborate, they could share the components, they could use those components. So that was our, let's call it, business idea. What happened afterwards, right? Afterwards, you have to have a critical mass of people working on this platform. So we started internally. What should we have on that platform? Should we have activities, custom activities? Of course. Should we have frameworks? Yes, absolutely. Let's add those as well. Should we have machine learning models? Yes, let's add those. Different reports? Absolutely. Let's add the templates. And so on. This grew, right? This grew both internally from our needs and from the ideas that our customers are having on how to do this. So that became our reality. Now, in order to go back to the start, what typically describes a productive business is that you match demand and you match the pipeline and you get a profit. Now, for the ones that are using the components, the profit is obvious, right? RPA is all about being efficient. You get the component, you are more efficient because you don't have to recreate it. The benefit for those is obvious. But what's the benefit for the ones that are creating the components? Because in a typical marketplace, that's why I had the star over there, in a typical marketplace, you would pay for the work of others. Mm-hmm. Now, we don't have that in our model yet, but I think what makes this work is the community behind this that actually makes an environment where people want to collaborate without a certain benefit, a certain financial benefit, and they do that for pleasure. They do that for the satisfaction of being part of this community. So, to show the success of this, we officially launched this 1 year ago. And we started from, I think, 60, 70 reusable components. Now we have more than 650. We have 90 partners that post components on UiPath Go. So I think for us this was a huge success simply because we thought of this as a business. What problem we are solving for the customers? How are we building the community? How do we get the critical mass in order to get this launched? Now, we also have a slide with the most downloaded components in UiPath Go. I only added this because we have the clothing consultant as number 4. I find that funny. So, having the story, having this, I would like to first start with Christian from Roboio and have him tell us the story.
Thank you. Thanks, Alexander. Yeah, so I'm Christian Boy from Roboio. We're an automation pure play and very proud to be the only triple certified partner of UiPath. So we do business implementation, training, but also a technology partner. And that's largely what I'm here for today. So at Roboyo, we've automated to date about 1,300 plus processes, and with that we have a good amount of experience under our belt. And what's come across consistently in the challenges on deploying an automation successfully is around running a bot stable in a production environment. And one of the challenges with that is, if you dig a little deeper to understand that, is that the quality and consistency of the deployments or the code components used is simply not there, which then also leads that the speed of deployment and development then is particularly slow. So when UiPath came to us a little over a year ago to say, hey, do you guys want to participate in being a launch partner for the Go Marketplace? We're like, hey, we didn't have to think twice about that. We're like, that's a great facility or platform for ourselves, but also to give back to the community and demonstrate our technical capabilities and expertise in that space. So with the Go Marketplace, I mean, one thing is we're one of the biggest contributors, which is great for us, but even greater for you, because what that enables is a further democratization of RPA. So it allows people to reuse components, which is one of the elements should be a general principle that you should follow in a deployment anyways, to say you have a central code repository. But the Go Marketplace is a very beneficial element that plays into here as well, to support that entire automation lifecycle from having an idea on automation all the way into operation and running that process. So the Go Marketplace comes in quite handy here to use components that are at a high quality, standardized, and that can then be used in a consistent manner across the entire board. And that only leads to the higher quality elements, but also to faster deployment. Another element within that is that you also have the ability to make bots actually smarter. So for instance, one of the components we have up there is a fuzzy logic. So if you're comparing two strings or two text elements like names and there's a little typo in there, typically a bot would fail, like, it's not 100% the same. But with the fuzzy logic as an example, it allows you to actually, in a statistical manner, to analyze how likely is it still, a valid data entry here, and pass that on. So make actually the bot a little smarter, as I said. One component with that in particular I'd like to highlight is, and I think it was shown in the presentation earlier, is around, particularly if you're using a citizen developer, which is a great way to get your company automated and have that automation mindset. One of the challenges is still that you have, as it was highlighted, the quality control that needs to be in place from an IT security, compliance, audit point of view. And ideally, you want to do that in a manual way, because quite often those people that have those skills are the ones that are most scarred, and you cannot, scale them at the speed you'd like to. So what we came up with is a wonderful German name, Petze, which stands for snitch to tell on someone, which is basically an automated code reviewer. So it goes through a number of best practices, IT security elements, whether using encrypted connections or not, compliance elements, etc., to give you a picture of what does the development actually look like across the board, to provide you the insights on the quality, the control, but also transparency on how people are actually developing. So with that, come to an end. So as I said, we will, in a somewhat cheeky fashion, like to say we've automated automation. And on that note, I'll hand over to Robert.
Thank you. Yeah, for me, it's really important that the democratization of RPA is really about people, right? I have a personal feeling that we as RPA leaders have a bit of a social responsibility to be able to upskill our folks in operations and give them the opportunities to grow, especially in this RPA space. It's really great for us from a company perspective to grow internally and get people that know these operational processes to take the next step and become technologists. And it's really good for them in their careers and things like that. So it's really important for us to be able to accelerate that whole experience for them. And so that's why we like this. For us, it's really all about breaking down all the common barriers. One of the things, we work with so many different clients across the globe, we are getting a really good idea about what the common barriers are to RPA in the companies, right? And as you can see there, a lot of those things, a new person to RPA are going to have a hard time overcoming some of these things, especially when they're inexperienced. So with things like RPA Go and be able to grab some modules and things like that, add to their automations, they're more successful in their first and second tries, especially as they're starting to grow and begin. And that's really important for us because we want people that start in the RPA journey to be successful as quickly as possible, so that they feel that it's very beneficial to them, and they're going to want to do more. And it's also going to speed up the delivery of what they are working on. So things like RPA Go are really good for that. You can see some of those things that you can see there from our common barriers. Technical complexity is one of the big ones, right? And the development time is probably the number one thing. It just takes a little too long. We hear from our clients all the time, can you go faster?
Of course.
Of course, right? UiPath Go, that's how we do it. We're trying to go faster. So this product speeds everything up for us. Capgemini has something called the Digital Global Enterprise Model. So when Capgemini works with a company, we look at a number of different aspects of that company. We compare them to what we think is best in class, and we can give an assessment of a company. And one of the things that we do is that intelligent automation space is a big part of what we do. And so UiPath Go is going to be a really good part for us because as we go through this new model, we have a really good idea of what the best-in-class business processes are across the board. And what better thing to do than to build automations against what those best-in-class business processes are, and then reuse the reusable components, put those into things like UiPath Go so that other people have access to them so they can go faster. And they can pull down those modules, put them into the bots that they need to do. And so we're really looking forward to building on that. And not only help the community, but also help us internally as well. We have a number of internal automation engagements that are going on, and a number of common processes across the board. You think about the finance and accounting space, the HR space, master data management. When you look at these types of things across different industries, the processes are relatively the same. And so if you can build bots using all of these reusable components to attack those, what I would call usual business process issues, it really helps us speed things up. One of the examples we have is, I think this is our contribution to UiPath Go that was just, we did lately, something we worked with Pipefy to do this as well. This was something, it's really just a kind of a work management, queue management type of thing, but the other part of this was all about also letting people see how easy it is to use a bot. Right, and so we were using this to not only automate a process, but also to show regular people how easy it is through a workflow tool like Pipefy, and then using RPA to really make something powerful and do that quickly. So we're really excited to use this. I think it's going to be it's hitting right the sweet spot that we need for reusability, and we're really excited about adding more to this particular library.
Thank you so much. And I think this UiPath Go was also extremely important for us because it set the baseline for other products such as Connect Enterprise. Having that said, since we have a few more minutes, I would like to ask a question to each of you. And since we already have in the room the head of Enabling Tech, Anna Cinca, maybe she can also benefit from the feedback that you're giving. So what I would like to ask you is, what's the thing that you enjoy most about UiPath Go, and what's one thing that you would like to see in this platform?
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure.
What I would love to see is some way where we can compartmentalize UiPath Go within certain companies. So we work with people that are very highly regulated, so banking and healthcare and things like that. And so I know a lot of those people, they have their own internal areas that they're building things on, and they would love to be able to have a thing where maybe not necessarily share to the whole globe, but share within their own companies, because I think as many of us have experienced, a lot of companies, there's many different automation going on in different silos across the company. And one of the things we see is that sometimes somebody's building a bot, which is exactly the same as some bot that's already been built in another part of the company. So someday within almost like a private UiPath Go or something like that would be very interesting for clients that are highly regulated and are a little bit more concerned about information security.
And that's exactly where Connect Enterprise comes into the place, because you would have your own private Connect Enterprise.
That's right.
And then you can have the reusable components in that.
I think that's going to be great. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think what I said in terms of the nice to have, I think that's definitely to add myself to the list there. In terms of what we really like is, as we've uploaded so many components to Go, if we had just done that in more or less isolation with our customers, that still would have been great, and we'd have also gotten great feedback. But similar to the citizen developer model, what it really allowed us using the Go marketplace platform is to collect feedback on a global scale that was almost unthinkable before. So it helped us to make the components, the products that we have on there, significantly better at a faster speed than it would have been in a more isolated fashion. So I think that's for us, having that exchange and getting that feedback been the one of the parts we like the most about it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's been really inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you.